All right, so today we're going to be talking about lifting and carrying. So, with lifting, we always want to use a hip hinge, and there's a separate video just on doing this hip hinge. But this is vitally important to ensure that not only your diastasis is safe, but your back is safe. So, one of the things that you might want to do is lift in stages if necessary. So, if your child's older, then maybe you will need to lift up to your knee or onto a couch and then lift up higher. Make sure you exhale on the lift. That's really important to protect your pelvic floor. Now remember, when before you exhale, you want to get a really good inhale. So at the bottom, make sure you've got a really good inhale and let your pelvic floor relax. That way, when you exhale and you lift, your pelvic floor will get a fantastic contraction with that lift. Also, make sure that you're nice and close to the object that you're planning on picking up, and make sure you don't need to twist to pick it up. So, if you're picking up, let's just say a briefcase or a laptop bag or something, make sure you're right in front of it before you pick it up. Don't allow yourself to twist and pick it up because that's just going to put so much pressure on your back. Right. When we're thinking about a baby, especially, again, always use that hip hinge. Don't tuck and clench. You can see what happens when you tuck your pelvis and clench your glutes, all the pressure that is going onto your back, but also it's going into your diastasis here and your pelvic floor has been opened. Also, making sure that your child's nice and close to you, and see this position here where the pelvis is in a nice neutral position and the back is neutral as well. Always exhale on that picking up of your child. It doesn't matter how light or how heavy your child is, always exhale. And some other tips that you might want to use is think about raising up your change table so you don't have to hunch over. A lot of people change their babies on their bed, but actually that's quite low and you end up having to hunch over. If it is that low, make sure you're using that hip hinge rather than this hunched position to change your baby. Think about changing your baby on the floor as well. It gives you the ability to move through different motions and different movement patterns, and that's great. Don't always do the same thing. Sit down on the floor to change your baby, or use the change table at different times. Use a step stool if you need to. If bending over the crib is difficult for you, make sure you stand on a stool so that you can again use that good hip hinge with your legs against the crib as balance. Make sure the crib is against the wall, and then you can lean over using that hip hinge and lengthening your glutes to place your baby down or pick your baby up, and then use a great glute contraction to stand back up. Always make sure the crib is against the wall though, because you don't want to be leaning against the crib and then have it move. All right, so tips when carrying. Make sure you switch sides often, both for your child and your bag, whether it is a change bag that's filled with everything under the sun or your purse, because those things get heavy too. So if you have a change bag or a purse that hangs on one shoulder, make sure you switch it over. And if you can, try to hold it so that your shoulder is level rather than being hung down. And even better, grab something that can cross over the middle of you, or a backpack that's on both sides. This is going to keep you much more even. And when holding your baby, if you do hold your baby on your hip, which is fine, we all do, make sure you're not slinging into it and you're using your arms to hold so your hips are balanced, and switch sides. Always switch sides. This is really important for your baby as well. Think about it if you're holding them in front of you, and if this was a newborn or a 2 or 3 month old baby, they need to be able to look both ways. So for their neck control, they need to be able to look both ways. So always having them over the same shoulder means they're always looking the same way. So this is important for both you and for your baby. When holding, hold slightly in front or behind the hip, not hanging into that hip, and use your arms. So put your arm under their bottom so that you can really use your arm strength rather than letting them just sit on your hip. As always, don't lean back and tuck under your bum. Okay, no glute clenching, and don't lean back and allow them to rest on your chest or like I used to, sit on your pooch. Okay, so just hold them and stand really nice and tall. Use your arm. Okay, so I hope that was useful, and make sure you watch all the little videos that I have done for different things like putting the baby into the crib, putting a toddler into the crib, picking up your baby, how to do the hip hinge. There's lots of little short videos for you to watch this time.